Next news. Breaking news from the White House.
So new breaking news out of the White House. The Trump administration just declared open season on every fraudster, scammer, and criminal organization that's been draining your wallet for years. And here's the kicker. They're willing to pay you to help take them down. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just announced a bombshell new program that I'm about to reveal that could put billions back in the hands of hardworking Americans. We're talking up to 30% of recovered fines going straight to whistleblowers who expose the thieves. Oh, this isn't just another government initiative, folks. This is the Trump administration turning everyday Americans into fraud-fighting bounty hunters. And the criminals? Oh, they're absolutely terrified right now. Now think about this for just a moment. Every single time you pay your taxes, some of that money gets siphoned off by multinational criminal organizations running healthcare scams. Some of it goes to fund housing for people who aren't even legally in the country. We're not talking about a few $1,000s here and there. We're talking about hundreds of billions stolen from you, stolen from your family, stolen from your community. That's money that should be going to veterans who serve this nation, money that should be fixing your roads and funding your kids' schools. Instead, it's lining the pockets of organized crime syndicates and being shipped overseas through wire transfers while the previous administration looked the other way. But President Trump's made a promise. He said he'd hunt down every last dollar that was stolen from the American people, and now, with this whistleblower program launching as soon as today, he's giving you the power to be part of the solution. This affects your retirement, this affects your health care costs, your community programs, everything the government touches with your money. Now think about this very carefully. We're talking about exposing fraud and corruption, but there's another kind of preparedness that we should all be thinking about. You see, what happens when the systems that we depend on, what happens when they break down? You see, if government institutions can be compromised, what makes you think that our supply chains are safe? When disruption hits you and you can't get the store, how long would you last with what's in your house right now? If it's less than a month, then you need to check out our friends at My Patriot Supply. They're America's #1 preparedness company with over 3 million satisfied customers who understand that self-reliance is the ultimate insurance policy. And right now at preparewithgary.com, their best-selling 4-week emergency food supply comes with an additional week totally free. You're getting at least 2,000 calories a day, real meals with real ingredients, no artificial flavors or colors, and a shelf life that's measured in decades. So don't wait for the next crisis to expose how unprepared you are. Go to preparewithgary.com for your free week of emergency food today, because whether it's fraud in Washington or supply chain failures, being prepared means you're ready for whatever comes next. Now here's what the mainstream media doesn't want you to highlight. See, this isn't just talk. HUD Secretary Scott Turner dropped a bombshell revealing they've already found $5 billion in potential payment errors at his department alone. Oh, it gets worse. They discovered illegal aliens receiving taxpayer-funded housing. Your tax dollars paying for housing for people who broke the law just to get here. Secretary Turner called it what it is, poor stewardship across the board, and he's working directly with the vice president to root out every single fraudster. So let's take a look at what's being said here. Eric Daugherty writes, huge move, Treasury Secretary Bessent about to launch a new anti-fraud program giving whistleblowers up to 30% of fines.
I don't know, Joe, but it's very exciting. I think it's going to be a great way to ferret out waste, fraud, and abuse, starting in Minneapolis, which has been ground zero.
Yeah.
So we are encouraging whistleblowers who know about fraud, people who are stealing from the American taxpayer, to come forward. At Treasury, we're setting up a website, and we will be giving rewards up to 10 to 30% of the fines that we levy.
10 to 30%. From exposing local fraud in Minneapolis to taking on multinational criminals, Bessent isn't holding back. Listen to him as he puts a spotlight on the massive scale of healthcare fraud that's hitting taxpayers right now.
There are large multinational criminal organizations that are doing healthcare fraud. So we are all hands on deck because this is money that is not going to where it's supposed to go, but more importantly, it's being stolen from the American taxpayer. We need to be a high trust society. We need to understand that this is where the money is going. And this administration, this could be hundreds of billions of dollars in recouped money. And again, the programs are supposed to go to those in need.
Hundreds of billions of dollars. Continuing the fight against fraud, Turner steps up with the alarming revelations at HUD. How billions in taxpayer money are at stake and what's being done to protect American citizens. Scott Turner writes, found at HUD, $5 billion in potential payment errors, illegal aliens receiving taxpayer-funded housing, poor stewardship across the board. I look forward to rooting out fraud at HUD. Listen.
Things at housing and urban development. What we're going to actually do is force the bureaucracy to take this seriously and work together as political principles to make sure that we stop allowing fraudsters to steal the American people's money.
Mr. Secretary, when he says fraudster stealing money, I mean, you can go 1,000 places with that. Is there something within housing or the mortgage structure that he was referring to specifically that you would know about?
Yes, sir, Trey. And I'm grateful for Vice President Vance and the president to take on this issue. You know, when we came in, we said we're going to root out all the waste and fraud and abuse. At HUD, man, we are called to be good stewards of American taxpayer dollars. We did an agency financial report, and we found that there's about $5 billion in alleged payment errors. And when I say this, man, you have people that are living inside of HUD-funded housing that are either illegal or ineligible to receive HUD-funded housing. And so we've taken some actions at HUD. We're stopping the FHA mortgages going to illegal aliens. We'll also signed a data sharing agreement with Department of Homeland Security to make sure that all of those that live inside of HUD-funded housing, public housing authorities, are indeed American citizens or eligible tenants. And what this is causing us to do is get all of those that should not be living in HUD-funded housing out of HUD-funded housing and making room for the American people only, those that need help, a temporary hand up to live inside of taxpayer-funded housing. And so we're grateful to the president, JD, and those across the agency to take these bold steps to make sure that those that have gamed and defrauded our system, one, they're held accountable to the full extent of the law, and two, they're moved out of the way so that the American people can be prioritized when it comes to HUD-funded housing.
Meanwhile, under President Trump's direct leadership, the push to combat fraud intensifies. Bessent urges Americans to join the cause in a nationwide call to action with rewards for those who help uncover the fraudsters. Here's more from the Treasury Secretary. Uncle Sam needs you.
Down on fraud. We know the vice president's been giving that task, but now you say Uncle Sam needs you is how New York Post interpreted the interview you gave them yesterday. You're actually asking the American people, if you know of fraud that's going on and substantially, come forward, you'll be rewarded.
So, Brian, President Trump started this early on in his second term. Vice President Vance has been given the task of accelerating this. And it's almost like a suitcase in an airport. If you see something, say something. The financial institutions, because of President Trump, Vice President Vance's leadership, and Treasury's actions, we have seen financial institutions now filing what we call suspicious activity reports, SARS. That's up 20%. Because they are the front line in identifying financial fraud. When nonprofits, whether it's daycare centers, hospice care, when they start wiring big round numbers out, that's a problem. There are large multinational criminal organizations that are doing healthcare fraud. So we are all hands on deck because this is money that is not going to where it's supposed to go, but more importantly, it's being stolen from the American taxpayer. We need to be a high trust society. We need to understand that this is where the money is going. And this administration, this could be hundreds of billions of dollars in recouped money. And again, the programs are supposed to go to those in need.
Oh, but they're not. They're going to the Quality Leering Center, right? So here's the truth that the establishment doesn't want you to understand. This whistleblower program, it changes everything. You see, for decades, government fraud investigations moved at a snail's pace. Bureaucrats investigating bureaucrats. Foxes guarding the henhouse. But now, now the Trump administration is turning insiders into paid informants. They're incentivizing the people who know where the bodies are buried to come forward. And the Treasury Secretary said it himself, suspicious activity reports from financial institutions are already up 20%. The criminals are getting very nervous. The money trails are being exposed. And when those nonprofits and state care centers start wiring big round numbers overseas, the alarm bells begin ringing. This could be the single largest recovery of stolen taxpayer money in American history. See, President Trump isn't just draining the swamp, he's paying patriots to help him do it. And this is exactly what America First governance looks like. In action. Not empty promises, not committee hearings that go nowhere, but real action that puts money into your pocket, where it belongs. Treasury, HUD, the Vice President's office are all working together with one mission. Stop the theft of American taxpayer dollars. And now they're asking you to join that fight. If you know about the fraud, if you have seen the corruption firsthand, now there's a path to expose it and get rewarded for doing the right thing. This is the accountability that we've been waiting for. So I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you think this whistleblower program will finally expose the massive fraud that's been draining our Treasury for years? Yes or no? Drop your answer below and let's get this conversation going. And since you made it to the end of the video, congratulations. That means you care. And because you care, I want you to text raw feed to 844-840-4963. That's how you beat the algorithm. That's how you get the notifications directly from me to you when YouTube fails you. I'm not going to spam you. I'm going to send you direct messages to your phone when it matters most, so you have the information at your disposal. And share this video with every American who deserves to know their government is finally fighting back. If you haven't checked out our merch shop, what are you waiting for? Find something you like, check out the shelf below this video, and show your support for independent journalism. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi. Stay informed and stay free.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this. Share this now.